Hi and welcome back to third video of the Microsoft Excel for Beginners video series. In the last two chapters we studied about what is a worksheet and what are rows and what are columns, what are tabs, what are menus within the tabs and the different groups that we saw. So we also saw how to create a simple table and all that. In this video I'll be showing you how to enter your data and use different features that are within Excel. So the features that we'll be studying in this video are, we'll try to learn how to use formulas, how to do a basic formatting, how to do a conditional formatting, and what are the different other formulas that are there, including how you can create charts out of the data that you enter. So let's get started. If you're a beginner, or this video will help you understand the Excel features in a real example, so stay tuned till the end. I will also share a practice worksheet you can download from my Telegram channel as well for you to practice. Right? Using a simple example of how you can create a student mark sheet. To create a student mark sheet, let's start populating the inputs that I might need. So I would need the name of the student. So I will use one example as subject 1 and subject 2 and subject 3. Now assume for all of these subjects I would want to calculate the total of all of these subjects together. So I will use total as the column name, and if I want to calculate the percentage of all of these subjects together, I will use a percentage as the column name. And lastly, if I want to set a grade of how much a student has achieved in the particular test, so I will use something called as a grading system. So since I have 3 subjects per subject, let me set the maximum of per subject should be 100. So I have a total of 3 subjects, so then the total would be 300, right? And I would also want to set the criteria for grading system. For the grading system, let me take if it is greater than or equal to 250 of the score, I will set it as A. If the student achieves greater than or equal to 220, so let me set it as B. And if the student achieves greater than or equal to 150, so I will set it as C. And finally, if it is less than 150, then I will say it as fail. Right? So these are my criteria that I have set now. So let's get started populating with the data that I might need to create a student mark sheet. I will also enter the header for this particular table of data that I want to create. So I will write as student mark sheet. So first thing, let's get started with a basic formatting of creating an Excel table. If I want to create a basic formatting, so let's get started with making the particular text into bold. So how would I make this particular text as bold? So just click on that particular text, and from this font group select this B, which makes the text bold. Now if I want to make this text or the header in the center alignment, what I will do is select from row 1 from columns A until column G, and then what I would do is I will select merge and center option. So this would make my entire text to be in center aligned with merging of all of these cells together. Alright. So now if I want to increase the size of this font, what I should be doing is go to this option and select any size that you would wish to increase the font size. Right. So if I want to change the background instead of a white background for this particular header, so go to this fill color option, select any of the colors. So I will select it as slightly grayish. So this is how I'll be able to change or format a particular text, including a background of other. Right. So similarly, all of these subheadings also I will make them bold. So there is one more formatting that I would want to show you. If I want to make this into center aligned, all of them together, so we have an alignment group here where you will also see the center your content option here. So when I select this, all of my contents will be center aligned. So now here the percentage text which is not fitting within the column F, you will see this is slightly cut on both the edges. So just double click on this column F here, so it would get automatically adjusted itself. Right. So now let's get started filling in the data. So let me start filling in the name as Ajay and Akash and Chandra, Dinesh, Ishwar. So I'll just fill in 5 students' data here. So considering 100 is the total marks per subject, so let me start populating the data that for every subject for every student. Alright, so let me start populating the data here. Alright, so these are some marks that I would want to show you as an example how you can create a student worksheet. Right. So let me, right. So finally with the last student. So alright. So now I have entered all of the subjects for all of these 5 students here. Now if I want to calculate the total marks obtained for all of the 3 subjects for every student individually, it would be tedious for me to calculate one by one. So Excel provides us a feature, something called as formulas. So in Excel, if I want to enter a formula, I should be always starting with equals sign. So when I use equal sign, Excel considers it as I have already begun writing the formula. Right? So now if I want to calculate the sum of all of these subjects together to calculate or obtain the total of all of the subjects, so I should be writing sum and press a tab, so automatically it provides with a starting bracket. So now I have my values here for each of the subjects in starting from cell B3 until D3. So what you should be doing is keep your left mouse button selected, start it from B3 and drag it until D3. Alright, so that ends your formula. Close it with a bracket and press enter. So when I press enter, so I got my total for this particular student. Now similarly, if you remember in my last chapter, I had told there is something called as Excel fill handle, which helps me use the same formula applied into the different cells. So here also I'll be using the same Excel fill handle. So just keep your left mouse button held and drag it until the last student you want to obtain the data. So this is how I obtained my total for all of the students together here, right? So my next option to calculate is the percentage. Now if I want to calculate the percentage, so again it should be the formula that I should be entering to calculate it automatically. So always all the formulas would start with equals. So when I start with the formula, when I want to calculate the percentage, start it with a bracket, take the total and divide it by 300, which I have already set as the total criteria for all of the subjects. Close the bracket, multiply it with 100. So when I enter this, I got 80.3333 here. So similarly, if I want to apply the same percentage formula for all of the students, just drag the Excel fill handle. So now what happened? I got an error here. Why did I get an error? Because if you see, I had selected the total as E3, which was my cell E3. Alright, so M3 was from the cell here, where you will see the total. I have already set it as a criterion. Now what happened in the next cell, if you see, E4 is the actual value that I would really want to calculate, where the student has already obtained his subject as a total. Now here what happened is M4, which is not the total which is actually calculating. So to do that, what I should be doing is either change the cell value like this, right, where I have the total, so I got the percentage here, or otherwise what you can do is, if you want to keep your cell M3 to be constant, what you could do is, just between this M and 3, keep a dollar sign. So when you keep a dollar sign, what happens is it keeps the cell M3 constant, right? So now what I would do is just select the Excel fill handle starting from the first F3 until the last, right? So this is how you can do a formatting and keeping the cell intact and all that. That's how you'll be able to do it. Right. So there is one more option that I would want to show you. Now if you see in the percentage, it is showing me all of the numbers after the decimal point. So if I do not want to show all of those decimal values, what I should be doing is just select this entire column, right? So when you select that entire column, go to this numbers, okay, numbers group. When you go to that numbers group, so select the numbers under the category. So here you are able to see the decimal places which is set at 2, right? So if you don't want the decimals, just select like this, make it 0. So that's how all of my percentage is into a numbers now, where I do not have any decimal values, right? And now my next activity pending is I would want to calculate the grade for all of these students together based on how much marks they have obtained as total, right? So if I want to calculate, so these are my criteria that I have set in. So how would I want to calculate the grading is, Excel again provides a formula where I will be using that formula now. So that formula is equals if, okay, equals if, what should I be using? If this particular total, which is cell E3 for this particular student, is greater than or equal to 250. Alright, because 250 is my grading for A. So what should I be saying when it is true? I should be saying it as A. Yes, assume if my total is still not meeting 250 or something, then what should I be saying is if again this particular total is greater than or equal to 220, right? And what should I be saying? I should be saying it as B, right? Finally, next, if again this total is greater than or equal to 150, right? So what I should be saying here is C. And finally, if none of these values are true for the total obtained by the student, I should be saying it as failed. So always do remember, all of the text that you want to populate, they should be in double quotes when you are entering in a formula, right? So now this ends my formula for my criteria that I have set here. Just close these brackets once you are done, right? So now this is how the grading is automatically populated based on the total that is calculated against my grading system. So again, now I will just select this Excel fill handle and drag it to calculate for all of the students together. So this is how automatically all of the data, including the total, percentage and the grading, can be calculated in an Excel with all of these built-in features, something called as a formula. Right? Now let me do a little more formatting so that my table looks a little better. So what I would do is select this entire data. So under the font group, where you will see something called as the borders or shading that you will have within this option. So I will select it as all borders. So when I select it as all borders, so this is how my student mark sheet would look like. Let me also rename this sheet. Alright. So let me rename it as student mark sheet. Right. This is how I have created a student mark sheet to show you an example of the different features like formatting, using formulas, the different formulas that we saw, like sum and calculating a percentage, and including a formula called as if, where you can logically use it for creating a grading system as well. Right? So now once all of my inputs are fulfilled, now my next activity is I want to populate this data into a visually and graphically that you can see them, how each of those students have obtained the percentage in a graphical way. So Excel again provides us to create graphical views by an option called as charts. So if I want to create a charts, what should I be doing is I should also be knowing the parameters that I want to show in the charts. So with that, let me start selecting, starting from name, subjects, and finally the total. Right? So I have selected all of these parameters like the name and each subject marks and finally the total. So when I have selected this, go to insert tab here. So under the insert tab and the charts group, you will see the different types of charts that you can populate. Let me use one of the charts as an option as a column chart. Okay. So let me use a column chart to populate all of the data for a student mark sheet here. So let me select one of those charts to show you as an example. So if you want to populate a column chart, just select this option with all of the data that you have. Alright, so this is how from the data, tabular data that you have given to the Excel, you can graphically view in this way. Right, so here based on the data that I have selected, on the x-axis you will see the different students and the marks that they have obtained. Alright, so if as of now you are only seeing something columns in a different colored way. If I want to know what are these columns signifying, I can also enable the numbering for them. So Excel provides an option called as data labels here. When I select that, all of these numbers will be populating. So now if you see, the yellow colored column is called total, and these blue and the light red and the gray are the subjective marks for every student. So you can also change the title of this chart. So let me change the title of this chart as student mark sheets. So that's it in this video. I hope this video was really helpful for you to know how you can use formatting, making the text bold, and using the formulas and creating charts and all that. So I will also give you a practice worksheet. You can join my Telegram channel where you can be able to download the Telegram practice worksheet for you. So stay tuned until next video. I'll come with a deeper Excel features for you to use and learn. Thank you. Bye bye.